So what if the Bender and the Brawndo had a baby? Well, you would get the Flexo. The Flexo incorporates honey, apples, and veggies all into one design. You will need the beekeeping perk for this, and the tooltip here that says every region that can sustain 2 apiaries by default is wrong. It's 2 honey per day. Hopefully they update this soon. You need about 8 to 12 apiaries to get a decent amount. At 12 apiaries, you're going to be seeing something like 2 to 300 honey a year. Now, keep in mind, honey does not have a spoilage rate. So as long as you're not consuming what you're making, it is going to grow, which makes it honestly a very good trade item too. Now, the Flexo is producing around 600 apples and 600 veggies per year. Coupled with the honey, this is an amazing feat of engineering, how to make the Flexo. So make sure that you are aligning corner to corner your building. This Flexo was made at an angle with crappy snap points, so you can still do it, but it did take me about 20 minutes when I did this incorrectly. Corner to corner. And what do I mean? Essentially just zoom out, take your mouse wheel, and just literally align it like this, and build in a straight line like such. And your snap points will be beautiful. This is consistent across all of my builds, and it's just how snap points work with larger plots. Okay. So this design calls for the greatest unit of measurement in the game, the corpse pit, or 0.25 Morgans. So we're going to pick a clean spot like such. And this is really easy. So start with 4 corpse pits, centered in the location you want everything to go. Once you have your 4 corpse pits up, you're simply just going to go dot to dot like such. And get yourself a square. Pause the game or they'll start building all these corpse pits. Slap down your granary however you wish. Make sure it's centered. Place a square around your granary. This is, like I said, relatively easy. And don't be afraid to use the little middle mouse button to contort things. I made it so that there's a bit of wiggle room in here. The important thing is to make sure that you do have the apiaries when you do this, so that you can get your roads right. You can always delete your roads, just set this up, and then delete your roads and replace everything too. So feel free just to stop literally right here with the granary and set up your roads however you want. But this is how you set up your apiaries. So we're going to have 2 of them side by side on each side. And then once that's done, you can see we have a clean and clear road right down the middle of them. This will allow the granary to get out to all of the other houses. I found it's beneficial to place the extra honey like so on the top part, and then run your roads right then. And that way everything else kind of contorts. So like right here, if I had lined it up with the well, or if you play with the option where you can put a well anywhere, it's beautiful. Unfortunately, there's no wells here. But what that gives me is a space for 2 pack stations. I can trade the honey, veggies, and apples for barley or any other kind. I can trade it for salt and meat. I can do whatever I want with it. That's why the pack stations are there. Pack stations go to the good you are trading wherever it is stored. So they have to come to the granary to get it. So if you put your pack station on the edge of a map, the donkey's walking back in town to your granary. So by placing your pack station right here, it gets the food, it takes off to the region, and then on the way back, it's supposed to drop it off in the nearest granary on the way back. Make sure you don't place your pack stations this way. All right. There you go. And so you can see you can fit 2 pack stations like that, but you have to make sure you place them long ways. And then over here, you can do ooh, wow. Yeah, you can get up to 9 market stalls. That is actually enough for the 3 food groups right there for 60 Burgage Plots. That is a beautiful thing. 60 Burgage Plots, 2 pack stations, 10 apiaries. Now, the fun part. This is so easy. All you're going to do is think in 2s once more. So we're going to go 2 up, 2 to the side, 2 to the right, 2 to the south, and then 1 in each direction for a total of 4, like so. Then connect the dots. just like we did with the Brawndo. Everything is pretty much spelled out for you on how to do this. You're always going to have little variances, but overall it's going to be the same theme. Then simply just delete everything. Okay, connect corner to corner, just like you do with the Brawndo. Use the road tools that you have to connect straight. Now, if you wanted to, you could try to get these plots to work, but they are just so big. This is like, this is it's like 1.7, and it's really hard. What I've done is simply go sideways. This has the added benefit of giving a massive range of motion. Otherwise, people have to walk down and over. So now people have many entry points, which is logistically very sound. And then these inside plots are so easy. There's a couple of methods. I've been using something called a corner straddle. Now this gets you something that's decent enough, but not really grand, right? Or you can try what I'm calling a straddle. And that is where you do the points here and here, and then go corner to corner. Look how sharp that is. That is decently sharp. Now, if you want to play around with it, on the fourth point, sometimes you can get it sharper. You come in on the third point. This is really good. So just do a straddle like such, corner to corner point, and you can typically get an easy peasy strip that's very decent. Now, if you want to get crazy, and I know you do, you can sit and play around with it for quite some time until you get something a little bit sharper. Going corner to point or point to corner is one of the best ways to get good sharpness, but sometimes it doesn't work, so try alternating sides and just try everything that you possibly can. Sometimes you may even find it beneficial to lose a little bit of a corner to get a sharp. The object is you're just getting the best land you can, because the cleaner and shorter I can get this mark here, the more land is dedicated to veggies and apples. So because I've lined it up perfectly, I'm not having to spend 10 minutes per plot doing this. You can see how important that step is. And anyone who's having issues most likely has not fully addressed that. So corner to corner doesn't work, do a straddle. Straddle is great. And to be quite honest with you, this really is good enough. You're maybe losing 20 veggies or 20 apples, not having it even sharper than this. But with how much this thing puts out, it's really not that big of a deal. If you have problems like I do, then spend the extra 20 minutes, get something sharp like that. This is going to push you, like I said, into 600 veggies and 600 apples on average. You may actually have much more than that if you really dial in how sharp all this stuff is. But like I said, you don't need to. It's choose your own adventure. You can make this as easy or difficult as you want. This isn't bad. We're just going to take it to continue on. But you can see I'm able to just very quickly get all of these dialed in. With the third point, I'm going to bring it back a little bit. You can see by bringing the third point back on this side, I was able to get a little bit more of an edge. This isn't bad, but it's also not good. And then we can try a corner. It's really interesting to see how everything goes in. This is not a bad plot. So play to your heart's content. Do the Flexo, and you will not regret it. Having honey production in the inside for the farmers, it's a great job for farmers. A great job for the whole family. Ages 8 and up, I guess. I don't know. I don't think the kids can work in there. Yeah, I love it. I love it so much. So this is it. That's how you make the Flexo. It's a very big piece of equipment, but at the end, it looks like this. You can alternate. You can do half and half. You can make it colorful. You can do whatever you want. And then when you get all your houses to tier 3, like we're trying to do here, it's going to look glorious. Since you're going to be at about 600, 600, and 600 honey, you should definitely be trading the honey. If you go to a high population, you're going to be consuming the majority of these veggies and apples, but the one granary, more than enough for what you're doing here. If you want, you can have a backup granary for additional honey, but the veggies, apples, and honey should all be sufficiently stored in just one large granary. Thank you guys so much for watching. Check out my perfect city build, which I will be linking at the end of this. I am editing every single episode down from like 1 hour to 20 to 30 minutes. I want to make these episodes fun, engaging, so thank you guys so much for watching.